I don't have it every time. If you ask me, just cook tobagi for me. Get to suffer sometimes. You go to other countries, you don't find tobagi. You know, I mean, imagine going to on the street of Manhattan in New York, and you asking for tobagi. Where you gonna find it from? So I miss tobagi when I travel.
So what is your plan? What's your vision like about yourself? Where did you want to be in your life when you are coming out? I guess you have some plan. Although you are here as Deputy Minister for Fiscal Affairs, you are the Minister of Finance and Planning, Development Planning.
I don't want to say I've arrived because I haven't. I'm still a very young man relatively, but coming up, I remember my plans changed a lot when I was growing up.
Okay.
I remember when I was in high school, right up the street, Cathedral School, that's where I graduated. I had gone to St. Patrick's, and St. Patrick's closed down, if you know, during the April 6th, 1996, when the late disgraced Archbishop Marlon Francis closed the school, so we had to migrate to other schools.
Okay.
And then I found myself in Danane, Cote d'Ivoire, in a refugee school called St. Jean Catholic School. And then I returned to Monrovia in 97, around the time right after the elections of Mr. Taylor. And I enrolled in Cathedral School. I graduated from Cathedral School in 99. I remember in the high school, I wanted to become a medical doctor. I was very brilliant in scoring very great marks in sciences. I didn't think I was going to be an accountant. I didn't want to be an accountant. But this was the catch. When we graduated from high school, in fact, we were in high school, we took the University of Liberia entrance. That year, we were entrance. That year, we took the entrance and we passed the entrance, but we were not admitted to the university because the conditions were we have not completed the WIAC exams, we have not graduated from high school, so we took the WIAC, the university entrance, we could not be admitted at that time, we were going to wait for some other time or take the exams or over. So I had the opportunity to take University of Liberia entrance, the Don Bosco Polytechnic now where you have Stella Maris, it used to be Don Bosco. Okay. In fact, when I graduated from Don Bosco Polytechnic.
Okay.
And then Cottington University. So I took all of these entrances, I passed all of them. Cottington became a no answer for me to go. My parents did not want me to go Cottington. At that time in 1999, there was the rumor of very rebels around in Monrovia, and they were coming from the butchers and what have you. My parents was afraid for me. My mother, of course, was afraid for me to go to Banga, where it would be very far from everybody, and that security situation did not permit me to go to Cottington University in Banga, the honor grad. So I came back. So I managed to enter the Polytechnic. Okay. Even when I entered the Polytechnic, I wanted to do economics. So that time now, my career had changed from wanting to be a medical doctor. I would have gone maybe I want to do biology, but then I was like a confused career hunt, if you like. So I entered the Polytechnic, and I enrolled into the business college, and I started attending business classes. I remember I had an opportunity to do a course on one Abu Bakr Sharif. He taught, we call him Abi Sharif. He taught me accounting 101, and I began to like the profession from right there. And I started to develop interest in the profession as a young person coming up in the school. Started learning the courses, lecturing my friends in the school, and doing teaching and tutorials on campus. I remained doing tutorials on campus until I graduated from the Polytechnic. And as I graduated from the Polytechnic, I started teaching at the Polytechnic. Then I started to interact with other professionals within the environment. Very strong professionals, and I like to use the occasion to give homage, to Mr. Theo D. Joseph, who managed Voscom at the time. Now he owns an accounting firm called Theo Joseph and Associates. Theo saw me. We call him, sorry to say, he doesn't mind, but call him Mr. Joseph and all that. He said Theo, just say Theo. Theo saw me and another young man, with three of us, Orlando boys, myself, and Orlando, by the way, is also a CPA now. Saw in school, young guys, and recruited us from the school, from the classroom. Now this time now, I've been recruited from the classroom by a CPA. So now, I've now begun to think that I want to be a CPA too. And that's how the whole CPA business came about. So I work in the firm for a good number of years, more than 11 to 14 years in the firm. And broken pieces like I worked and I left. I came back and continued with the firm. So it's not a straight 11 or 14 years thing. So, and then I decided, so I went up there. So what it means to be a CPA, so, but you got to write the exam, study for the exam, write the exam. But I said, well, I will go and write the exam, study for the exam, and pass. So I started that process, and I became, who I am today. So if you ask, what did you really want to be? At that point, I developed the desire to want to be a CPA. I'm not a CPA. I'm now a CPA. So I feel achieved on that. I wish to aspire hard, and now I'm looking forward to see how my knowledge of being a chartered accountant will help to impact the life of our country. And I sit in a strategic position that requires such credential, not necessarily a must, but it's an advantage to have such credentialed person sitting in this capacity to manage the financial resource of our country. My responsibility here at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning is to manage the financial resource of the Republic. I'm responsible to review the financials that have come out of the Office of the Controller General, Controller and Accountant General. So I'm responsible for the whole financial management. I'm like if you want to say, the fiscal czar of the Republic. I'm basically responsible for PFM, Public Financial Management, across the Republic.
Okay. So, I guess you've been following government and so forth. What are those things that you really like about government, being in government?
I think it's a different thing, being in government and having worked in the private sector for long. The private sector is a little different environment where of course, you are hired, you are responsible, you are expected to behave in a particular manner, you are hired, and how do you work for somebody who personally own a particular venture in an environment? But in government, you are responsible to report to the people, you're supposed to report to the state, and you're using taxpayer monies that are generated from you and myself, and you, among several other persons, are chosen over 4 million people to make decisions for them. So it's a difficult thing to do, and I see it very challenging, especially in this given responsibility. But again, men have always gotten prepared for the challenges ahead and how he intends to face those challenges. And I think I want to speak for myself, the public and judge. I am convinced that we're doing a good job.
So with all of these stories that you are explaining about yourself, what you think would be a word of conscience from you to your fellow Liberians, young people?
I tell Liberians to focus. You gotta be a focused person in what you want to do. Don't be distracted. We've all had occasions where some of us were distracted in different circumstances. Tell me, there are friends who went to school with me, grew up with me, but they don't sit, or they have not even forget about the position, but they're not sitting on the level, whether academic, financially, or economically, or professionally, as we sit right now. There are a number of intervening circumstances. Some people, they didn't have the resources to go to school. It was a difficult thing. And trust me, my school fees back in school were paid by a number of people, and I'd like to reference some of them. He's dead today, and peace be to his ashes. The late Dr. Nathaniel Richardson used to be Minister, Deputy Minister of Lands and Mines. I had the opportunity to have seen him and work with him at Armlip United Mineral. Dr. Richardson said to me, Samora, your future is secure for the next 15 to 20 years. But he didn't live up to 15 to 20 years to see it done. I know he helped me to finance me when I entered graduate school at Cottington. He paid my tuition, and I graduated and got a master's degree from Cottington University in 2007.
Okay.
That's when I completed Cottington University. I have also had the opportunity for my fees to be paid by someone who I refer to as my own godfather. Godfather doing baptism in the Catholic Church. When you're getting baptized, you have to choose a godfather or a godmother. Okay. And that person is responsible to mentor you spiritually in the doctrine of the Catholic Church and grow you up. Okay. That person is Mr. Nimne Imomo, who is now the managing partner, or senior partner at PKF Liberia. I had the opportunity to work at PKF as well. So Mr. Momo used to be the dean of the business college of the Polytechnic, Actor Barclay Business College. Went to the Polytechnic, scored good grades. I became on the dean's list, and I became recruited. Mr. Momo pay my school fees personally. Stella Maris.
Okay.
I mean, at the Polytechnic. Now you call it Stella Maris.
Stella Maris.
So I used to have the opportunity, and I tell you this joke. Maybe I can say it publicly. You know, when the school fee is paid, my mom will give me like half of whatever they're supposed to pay, and put it in my pocket, and I will do other stuff and what have you. You know, just to compensate. As a student in school too, you have to pay your way, you have to pay for pamphlets, you have to pay for books and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So just to keep me up as a young man coming up. Not that we were rich, but we had a situation from the family that managed and really struggled to pay the tuition of the kids.
That drew my attention now to questions like this. What will you maybe reflect on, consider as a kind of struggle or something that came away as an obstacle or as a challenge in your journey?
Oh, a number of obstacles came. There was even a big challenge to study my lesson to pass. That's a challenge by itself. Sometimes it's tough. It was not all happy moments. Sometimes we got home, the parents didn't have it all the time. Sometimes you got you hungry, you broke, no money. You gotta manage. I saw it as a challenge to move forward and prove myself right. That's how I saw it. So I don't like to comment on those kinds of situations. Those people are like, I refer to them more like side attractions, you know, to enhance my development and progress.
So during your days when you are coming up, how do you see that day as compared to this day, how young people behave and how things are going on right now in this country?
Don't get me wrong, there are very exceptionally smart young people that exist today in the country.
Okay.
I've had the opportunity to have spoken at a couple of commencement programs, high school convocation programs, and my resources are not plenty. It's small. I've been taking brilliant and smart students who can I afford and helping them all across the country for the last 10 years. Some of them have even graduated from university today. Yeah, a number of them stay in university today. I'm not going to name anybody here. I'm not going to name the schools.
Okay.
But I'm going to say that they are in universities across the country. You can go Stella Maris, you can go University of Liberia, all over the place. I look for people who, you know, actually, you know, can't afford. We'll see how we can chip in there. Even if it's not 100%, we'll do something there. So that's something that I've done in my life. In fact, when I taught at the Polytechnic and the University of Liberia, I normally use the resources to pay students' school fees. Whatever pay, they pay me there.
And what's your plan
The
for?
records are there, you can ask.
What's your plan for Liberia? Where would you love to see this country? Where you hail from? Where your neighbors stream are there?
I like to see road going to Lofa County, and I'm glad that the president focused his infrastructure development and roads. And we will do everything we can to work with him to ensure that his development agenda is met. And I want to believe that Liberia will succeed. This country will succeed, and it requires the sincerity of all of us who are public servants today, all of us who are national leaders, to focus and remember that all we have is Liberia, and we should do everything for the growth and development of our country. This means that we should be honest in the exercise of our responsibility of our job. If we rob any single person, we will rob in the country of what it should benefit for the development of this nation. So I'd like to call on all public servants, public and private servants of government and outside government to focus very well to ensure that these aspirations are met and that the government expected launched development agenda is well catered to and meets the aspiration of the Liberian people.
Well, Minister, thank you ever so much for taking your time to speak to us on Footage Live Television that is now on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook Live. But before we take leave of you, is there anything you love to talk about yourself, or anything you want to say to the public, those who are watching you or will be listening to you after that would they mention?
Well, I just ask that the public should join us, you know, in ensuring that the government does its best in delivering to the needs of the people. It should be as critical as possible on us who are public officials. And I ask them to just do one thing, just pray for all of us so that God can give us wisdom. I particularly ask for wisdom in my life so that I can move forward and make the best decision. And I like to end with something that the president said in his speech, in his inaugural speech. You know, you're not judging by the eloquence of his speeches, but you're judging by the decision he will make. Please judge us by the kind of decision we make. That's why I encourage you to pray for us to give us wisdom so that we can make those decisions that will be wishes and aspirations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
He is the Deputy Minister for Fiscal Affairs at the Ministry of Finance and Development and Planning here in Liberia. His name is Samora Wolokolie. Here been speaking on the microphone. I have been TK Tennessee Toplu. I'm here with my colleague Karen Tikapako live. Have a blessed day.